Hi grade 5s, happy Tuesday. Welcome to another math session. So by now, on Sunday and Monday, we've been focusing on just looking at a spinner and then determining possibilities and outcomes based on the spinner given, right? So you always have a spinner given with numbers or colors, and then you analyze that. Now, the rest of this week, we're gonna be flipping it. You will be given the possibility and outcomes, and you have to design the spinner. So just think of what we were doing. You're going to flip it now. You're not going to be given the spinner. Now you will have to create the spinner based on a few requirements, right? So think of it like that. We were given a spinner, then you looked at it. Now you're going to create a spinner based on some requirements. So let's get that started. All you're going to need is your math notebook, highlighter, pencil, as always. Okay. New page, Tuesday, May 19th. And let's get our title, which is Designing Experiments. So you're actually designing the spinners now, which is you're designing the experiment. So designing experiments. That's your title. Okay. And our I can statement is over here. Is I can over here design and conduct design and conduct probability experiments. Please highlight that. So our title is Designing Experiments, and our goal for today's lesson is so that we can design and conduct probability experiments. Now this, I personally love this part of the unit because if you are someone who likes, unscrambling puzzles or doing puzzles or any form of unscrambling kind of things and working the mind and trying to fit different things, you'll like this. You'll enjoy this because it's a lot of just okay, if this needs to work, you're kind of looking at all the possibilities and requirements. And if not, you'll still like it. You won't hate it, I promise. Okay, so designing experiments. I can design and conduct probability experiments. Now, let's just actually write that down. I'm going to erase it because I want the full page, because I want to work on one single page. Okay, got it? Okay. Okay, so like I said, last time, so far all we've done is we've been given the spinner. We won't be given the spinner, but you will be given what I say, kind of like requirements. And so, these are kind of like the puzzle pieces. I will give you certain requirements, and then we have to create one. So let me give you some, and we can work on this one together. We'll probably do one or two together. So let's I will say requirement 1. So first, it has to be, so we need to design it. Okay, let's say requirements is that the pointer landing, actually should I do one separate ones first? Yeah, let's do some single ones first, okay, before we get to the big guys. Okay, let's do one. So create a landing on red is more likely than landing on yellow. Okay, let's do a simple one first. So first one I want you to try, why not? What could be a possible spinner that I can draw and have labels that landing on red is more likely than landing on yellow? So let's get our spinner. Let me get, where's my brown? Right here. Okay, so let me draw my spinner. Okay, so I need to draw a spinner that the likelihood of me landing on red is more than me landing on yellow. So what does that mean? Okay, so I only have two colors, so I know that one section has to be red, one has to be yellow. But if red has more likelihood, can I just say like that, red and yellow? No, because that would be equal, right? We want red section to be larger, so our spinner has to look something like, and maybe I might have something like that. And this section would be red, and this section would be yellow, right? And that works. And does it, landing on red is more likely. It is more likely because my section of red on the spinner is greater than the section of yellow. So that does match. That is correct. Okay, let's do another one. Number 2. Let's say, what if I said, so this is number 2, just keep going, landing on, let's say now, green and purple are equally likely. So what will my spinner look like now? So let's say I've got a spinner here. Maybe we can do 2 possibilities. I've got a spinner here. And let's say I've got this. So if I say landing on green and purple are equally likely, that means that my spinner needs to be, so if I cut it in half, and I say this is purple, P for purple, and this is green. And that would work, right? Because this is equal, this is half, and this is green. What if instead I had a spinner, and I gave you a spinner and had to be sections of 4? What would you do then? Where would purple and green be then? And maybe I can... Right, so that one fits because this is half and that's half, so they're equal. What if the sections were 4 equal sections? Then I would have to have purple and purple, and green and green. And that still matches, right? Because there's 2 greens and there's 2 purples. That's also equally likely. I could have 6 sections. If I had 6 sections, the same thing, I would just need to have how many? If I had my spinner, and I had into 6 sections, which again, I need to have green and purple equally likely. How many purples would there be? How many greens would there be? There would have to be 3 greens and 3 purples, right? Because as long as the numbers, doesn't matter if I have 6 or 8 or 10, as long as they have the equal amounts. If I have 2 purples, I have to have 2 greens. If I have 4 purples, I have to have 4 greens. That would match, right? Because it's equally likely. That makes sense? Okay, let's try another one before we get into the big guys, which is when there's multiple requirements. Because right now I just want to do a few where it's just one requirement. Let's do another one with, let's say 3, landing on brown is impossible. So I'm saying now the likelihood of me landing on brown is impossible. So what could that spinner look like? That just means as soon as you see impossible, something in your mind should go ding, 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 ding. Okay, that means brown does not exist, right? It's an impossible outcome. It's not a possible outcome. That means it could be any spinner except it cannot have brown. So there's so many possibilities for this, right? As long as a spinner has everything else but brown, right? So let's say this. I might have, maybe I might have green here and green here, and I might have a red, and I might have a black, right? As long as there's no brown colored, right? Another one could be, okay, so again, the same thing. Now let's make it a little funky. What if I had maybe this? So maybe I have black, I've got green, I've got red, purple. I think that's all the colors I have. Actually, I have a gray too. Oh no, that's black. Okay, well. Just make that green. Okay, so again, a spinner. And that also matches, right? It's another spinner that does not have brown. So these both are correct. As long as there's no brown, and remember, B represents black. As long as there's no brown, the spinner fits. It matches. Okay, let's now, so I think we get the point now, right? You just, as long as it matches the requirements, your spinner works. Now, well, what we're trying to get to is getting to, so those were just one requirement, right? One requirement, spinner. One requirement, spinner. What we need to get to, and this is where the puzzle part comes in, multiple requirements to create one spinner, right? So let's see what that means. So I'm gonna list all the requirements and then we'll work together to create the spinner. So just write down the requirements and I'm gonna do 4 requirements for one spinner, right? So we're trying to put all these possibilities, and that's where I'm saying that's where the tough, it's not tough, but it's like a puzzle. You have to work through it. It's like a jigsaw. Okay, pointer. Okay, pointer landing on. So just write this down first and then we'll work through it together. Pointer landing on black is least likely. Okay, and I want you to highlight that or underline that. I'm going to underline it because I can't highlight, so please highlight that. And we can actually highlight black too because that's the color. So black is least likely. Requirement number 2 is that the pointer landing on blue is most likely. Okay, we've got another requirement done. So again, I'm going to highlight the fact that blue has to be most likely. Requirement number 3, pointer landing on is it straight? I hope so. Pointer landing on yellow and green are equally likely. Okay, so let's highlight pointer landing on yellow and green are both equally likely. And let's do one more. Pointer landing on red is impossible. Okay, let's highlight that and let's discuss it and go through it one by one. So don't get overwhelmed. It seems hard, but if you do it one by one, it's not that difficult. So let's go through it. So we have 4 different requirements and we have to create not 4 separate spinners because that's way too easy. You can do that. That's not grade 5 level. We want to create a spinner, one spinner that satisfies and that matches all of these requirements. So we need one of this to fit all of this, and it has to make sense. So let's work through that. Now let's look at them first before we work through this. The pointer landing on black is least likely. That means not that high chances, right? You have to, and that's why we worked on those terminology first. So black is least likely. Blue is most likely, so the most amount of chances. Landing on green and yellow are equally likely, okay? And the last one, which is where we'll start, it says pointer landing on red is impossible. So let's do number 4 first because it's the easiest. Whenever you see anything is impossible, right away what can we do? If landing on red is impossible, will there be any red here? Do I need to worry about red? No, right? So you can just even cross that out. If landing on red is impossible, all I need to remember that I cannot put red here. So already you're done number 4, right? Because red, I'm saying, is impossible. So if it's impossible for me to land on red, there should not be any red here. Okay? So great. Number 4, we're done. Let's go back to the top. The first 2, 3 then. 1, 2, 3. So we're saying that me landing on black is least likely. So that should tell you in your mind, okay, so my section for black has to be the smallest. Whatever section is, whether it's 1, whether I cut this in 4 or 2 or 1 or whatever, it has to be the smallest. But which one has to be the biggest? Blue. So whatever I make blue, it has to be the biggest section. And then yellow and green have to be equal. So let's start splitting this. So good plan is always just to start with maybe 4. So this is obviously do this in pencil. So a good plan, just to initially, and you can always change it, is to just start cutting into 4 equal sections. Okay, now let's work through this. Let's work through number 3, because let's go our way up. Pointer landing on yellow and green are equally likely. So if I put green, green, and I'll put Y for yellow. So if this is green and this is yellow, is this correct? That landing on green and yellow are equally likely? Yes, that does match. So as of now, that does match this because the section for green is equal or the same as the section for yellow. So I can leave that because that is true, right? Okay, let's keep going. Pointer landing on blue is most likely. So I only have 2 colors left. So I have blue and black. So let's say if I put black here, and I'll spell it out, and blue. Does that, so because Miss Madry said green and yellow is right, because it's equal. Can I make this black and this blue? Does that, what do I need to fix? Because we're saying pointer landing on blue is most likely. So right now, blue is the same as everything else. So that doesn't make sense. I need it to be the most. It has to be the biggest section. So how can I make blue the biggest section? So it has to be bigger than this 1/4. So we know that we need to actually change this whole little section. What if instead I made it like this? What if I made it a little smaller and I said this is blue and then this is black? And I wrote it really small, but that's a little black. Does that, now does it match? So landing on red is impossible. Excellent, there's no red here. Landing on yellow and green are equally likely. Yes, because the section for green is the same for yellow. Landing on blue is most likely. Yes, because blue section is the greatest. It's bigger than this, it's bigger than black, it's bigger than green, it's bigger than yellow. So that matches. And the last one, landing on black is least likely. That also works because black is the smallest section. So do you see how we work through that to make each section correct? We were able to take specific requirements and make a spinner out of it. So 4 requirements make this 1 spinner. And it works, right? Black is the smallest, blue is the greatest, and green and yellow are the same. Okay, let's, maybe we could do one more really quickly. And then you can try it. So I'll write the requirements down and you can try it. You can pause the video and try doing it on your own and see how well you do. Okay, let's get, okay, requirement 1, maybe I'll do 2 or 3. So landing on green most likely, right? Yeah, let's say that. Then we could number 2, landing on green, let's say red, least likely. 3, landing on black and purple, equally likely. And 4. Landing on orange, impossible. Okay, so I want you to write this down. And then I want you to pause this video and try doing it on your own. So write these 4 requirements down, pause the video, just try, draw a spinner, see what you think you can come up with, as long as it matches the requirements. And then we can come back and we can do it together. So, and I'm going to read through them. So first one, landing on green is most likely. Landing on red is least likely. Landing on black and purple is equally likely. And then landing on orange is impossible. Okay, so we got 4 requirements again. Once again, I'm going to draw my spinner. So again, 1 spinner that has to fit all of those requirements. Okay, I'm going to put a little dot, and I won't split it yet. And again, and actually I'll split into 4 because that's, like I say, it's a good place to start. You might always have to change, but it's a good place to start just to draw 4 and then see from there. Because there's 4 sections, think of it like that, but we can always change it. So let's work our way up because we know right away, and hopefully you had a chance to do it, right away you saw the last one, you probably thought that, oh, if orange is impossible to land on, they're just easiest way is you just don't put any orange. As long as you don't put any orange, you're fine. So 4, I'm going to make sure that I don't put any orange. I'm done. Next one. Landing on black and purple are equally likely. So I'm going to put black here. Okay, because that's 1 equal section. And then maybe I'll put purple here. Right? So right now they're equal section. That matches because landing on purple and black has to be equally likely. And right now it is. Okay, let's keep going. So as of now, it's correct. We might have to change the sections and whatnot, but let's keep going. Landing on red is least likely. So the chance of me landing on red has to be the smallest section. So right now, these are equal. So obviously I know I need to make this 1 section really small, right? So maybe I'll make it like this. And that can be red. Okay, let's keep going. Hopefully it matches the rest of them. Landing on green is most likely. So if I put green here, it happens to be the most likely. That is correct. So, excuse me, landing on, let's double check. And that's the best part. You always know if your answer is correct or not if you just check. So landing on green is most likely. That is correct because that is the biggest section in the spinner. So that is correct. If it's the biggest, then the experimental probability is that I'm going to land on it the most because it's the biggest section. 2, landing on red is least likely. That is also correct because it's the smallest section of the other colors. So it's the smallest from purple, black, and green. Red is the smallest. That's also correct. Landing on black and purple are equally likely. That means that these 2 sections, the black and the purple, have to be equal, which they are. Okay? And the last one, landing on orange, is impossible, which right away, because I don't see any orange, we know it's correct. Okay? And that's what today's lesson was. Okay? So taking requirements, whatever they are, they could be 2, they could be 3, they could be 1, and creating a spinner. Okay? So I want you to make sure you review this lesson. I'm going to post some questions today, and then you're going to work on them tomorrow as well. And then that's pretty much it for the unit. I'll either post it today or tomorrow. I'll mention it, where I'll post the study guide and the unit outline, but we're pretty much done the unit. We're just doing some more practice on creating spinners, using spinners, but this is a very important lesson. So we're gonna work on it today, and we're also gonna work on it tomorrow. So over the weekend or on Thursday, I will post the study guide and all that. So message me or your teacher if you have any question, and then yeah, have a lovely, lovely Tuesday. Bye.